So you went to Australia.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
What were you like studying? You were studying abroad. What was your interest in studying?
It was a Bible college actually. My sister went there, my brother went there, and it was just kind of something we decided to do because they had such a great, fun experience doing it. So we stayed in Australia for 6 months, then went to New Zealand for 6 months after that.
Right.
And it was
kind of like a gap year.
Just to kind of
right.
kind of explore and do something different. And we chose Australia because I know we like to chill on the beach a lot. So like just drink beer and chill on the beach kind of thing. So
yeah, but you couldn't drink beer. It was
expensive. It's wild. So coming from Wisconsin, that's one of the great things we always say is the beer prices there super cheap compared to everywhere else in the state. So sticker shock going to Australia then. But anyways, we had our sister in Australia at the same time as us. Actually, she lived there for 2 years, and so she got into the wine scene there before we did, and kind of introduced us to it. And anyways, it was a great introduction to wine. But then when we moved back to go to school together in Madison, that's where it really started to sink in. I mean, Sid definitely caught the wine bug first. That led to us having a great bottle shop in Wisconsin that we would go, pick out a bottle really every week or so and try to do, blind tastings basically just like this, and, test each other. And then we got some friends to, grab a bottle maybe like once a month when we get together and do the same thing. Yeah, and
it's more like college and just drink wine.
Anyways, it was I think fascinating for Sid just to, and I think for most people, just how wine just has a essence and ability to capture a place. And so,
I actually started listening. I don't know if you know Gary Vaynerchuk.
Like
Wine Library TV.
Oh my gosh, Gary V. He's
so
crazy.
I was doing economics, switched over to horticulture because I hated economics. And I stopped all my classes, switched to horticulture, and talked to the counselor hey, I want to do this. And then I knew nothing about wine, so I was I just looked on the internet, saw Gary V's Wine Library TV, and that's how I started. I just would taste what he would taste and just take notes on what he was doing. So that was kind of an intro to me of wine. And then during my horticulture thing that I was doing, I was able to make an internship with this guy Brian, who had a vineyard in Wisconsin that's just an acre. So I was able to make an internship out of that, and Mac ended up working with me, so we did that for a summer. And then things just kept snowballing, and then it was I'm almost ready to graduate. Mac was graduating before me. He's like, hey, I don't know what I want to do. I'm like, hey, why don't you try the wine industry? And so he went on winebusiness.com, found a job here in Oregon, and so he did that.
Came out here blind too. I didn't know anyone or anything. So ended up getting a job over at 12th and Maple. They're a custom crush. So they see 13 winemakers about every year make their wine through there. So it was a great experience just to kind of learn wine from the ground up, the production side, and that's really what we wanted to do. It was kind of the mission when we decided to come out this way. So I worked there for a harvest in 2014 was my first year.
And we were still trying to navigate, hey, where do we want to be on the West Coast? We know we want to be on the West Coast because it's just quality of wine's better out here. I mean, I've never been to New York and Finger Lakes and all that kind of stuff, but from what I know, there's good quality out here. So Mac, he called me during mid-harvest, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's like, dude, you need to come out here. It's sweet. I was like, okay. So I graduated. I slept. Mac was living with a lady right in Newburgh.
I rented out a room basically. So
might as well.
I was never in it. At the time I was working,
19 hours a day.
She was really concerned too because she, no idea of the wine industry or what it entails. So she was she came and confronted me once and was like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "They're working you some serious hours there." She was wondering about the whole operation. This is completely normal. Don't need to be alarmed kind of thing. So
going back just a little bit to Wisconsin and getting an internship. So King's North, is a homage to the King of the North varietal. But I'm curious that grape, that varietal. I'm like, what kind of wine do you make out of it? Do you have to worry about botrytis? I am so curious.
It's so it's a grape varietal that originated in Madison, Wisconsin, and so when we were trying to conceptualize the label, the name, we did want to pay basically a tribute to where we fell in love with wine, the roots, to be upfront about it, so to speak. But so we were looking up, and we just felt like that was captured the essence, I think, of what we were all about. And it's the most cold hardy grape in the world. It can withstand -30, -40 during the dormant season and things like that.
Right.
So the thing is though, and this is the secret about King of the North, it doesn't make for great wine. So that's the thing we like to push aside a little bit, but
that's fair. I mean, you don't hear great wines coming out of Wisconsin.
Right, yeah.
And that's why we're here.
Right, so I mean, is it like a red varietal? Is it a white?
That's a red varietal. And so, like, when I was working that internship, like, the clones or the grape varietals you get is like Marquette, St. Pippin, Marshall Foch, like, things you don't usually ever hear about. And they're just for cold hardiness, just withstand that temperature. But, like, the essence I always hear when, like, because there are some wineries in Wisconsin, you go taste them. It's interesting. And it's, like, decent wine for, like,
the conditions.
For the conditions of growing.
Right.
And it's always like, the term was foxy. It's like a foxy, like it's kind of rustic, kind of like that. Yeah, so it's very interesting. And it was cool to grow, very vigorous because it rains all the time in Wisconsin during the summer.
Right.
So it's like you're always just controlling vigor. You're spraying a bunch of stuff. I mean, you get Japanese beetles there, which you don't get here, and they just eat around the whole leaf. So it's like you have to spray some not so nice things on the vines, but it's what you gotta do. So.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.